What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing well today. As you can see, we're on some sim, and as you can see, the pain is probably about to begin. So very often people ask me, like, why don't you play in first person on sim? It's so much better than third. And in this video, you're going to see that exact reason. So I've tried many times over the past, well, God knows how many years I've had sim now, like 6, 7, maybe even a little more than that. I tried to convert to first person a few times just when I was like mostly out of boredom. Back in the day when I was playing, a lot of the top people in this game were first person players, and I thought, you know what, if it's working for them, maybe it'll work for me and we'll try it out. It didn't matter what settings I used, like FOV, height, anything like that. The gimbal didn't exist like it does now back then when I was learning, so I turned that on to hopefully mellow things out a bit. But it doesn't matter how much time I spent, I always, after maybe 30 minutes to an hour of playing, found myself with the most horrible headache. And I think it's purely to do with the fact that your head is kind of fixed, so you tilt with the bike rather than, like on MX bikes for example, your head for the most part stays upright and it's the bike that moves underneath you. If that was an option, I'd be loving life. Let me quickly, before I keep crashing, I'll show you what I'm rocking. So I'm 112, 0.31 and 11, and then 45 gimbal. I've messed around with it a tiny bit just before starting this video to find something that I don't mind recording a video in, because as I say, it does give me a genuine headache. And I don't know how you, especially the top guys that are going like a million miles an hour everywhere, no clue whatsoever how you guys do it. Because, like, take Supercross for example, and Nationals as well if you're in a long rut. I can't see to the end of the corner like I can in third person. So the amount of muscle memory and like learning of the tracks that you need playing first person well just blows my mind, because how are you meant to ride if you don't know what's coming up next in front of you? Because I know in my mind, especially in IRL as well, you tilt your head that little bit, don't you, to look towards the edge of the corner, but it's not viable in this. You can't do it. And I'm on high point, by the way. This is literally like my fourth or fifth lap on high point. I quickly tested it out just before the video started to make sure that this is actually what I wanted to make a video on, so I don't puke. And it's quite a fun track actually. I think out of the, well, actually, have they released round 5 yet at the point of this coming out? They might have. I'm a little bit behind the ball, boys, I won't lie. I've been away over the last weekend, just gone, and I've not been playing much sim as a whole in general. I do want to do the occasional sim race still every now and then for RF, mostly on the GPs, because that's actually the days that I'm free, I believe. I believe that the AMA stuff is on the same day as MX bikes, which is annoying. The European stuff, at least, I believe it's on a Thursday, I want to say. But I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I wasn't minding the EU, well, the GP stuff too much, and especially since I switched to this 450. I really wanted to use the 250 originally to just try and get my speed back, because I feel like for the most part they are easier to ride just in terms of consistency. But there's something about the 450 for me that just, I think, suits me a little bit better. Not sure what it is, but you know what, do what you're good at, I suppose. And whilst I'm definitely not quote unquote good in the general sense, I am better than I am on the 250, and that's what matters for me. That's what I'm counting on. It's bits like this, like turning jumps. I can't quite get it down. I know it's because I haven't spent much time in it, and like, obviously my timing is going to be way off because I'm running a higher FOV than I ever have done before. They usually run, I think it's 85 in third person, so massive difference. Things coming up to me a lot quicker than I expect, and we get a little bit wild. We get a bit whiskey, and we go down. And I think the reason as well that I've not like hardcore forced myself to change to first in the past is for what you just saw just there. I hate having to lay on the floor for 7 to 10 seconds anytime I crash on this game. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about MX bikes, although little insider knowledge right here. I believe that's going to be changing coming in the near future. I believe they're adding a reset delay timer depending on the severity of the crash, so that'll be interesting to see how that's implemented with the glitchy netcode and low speed physics and stuff. I imagine that could be very frustrating. Maybe it's, it'd be nice if it was like a server-side thing that you could toggle like on and off depending on competitions. Yeah, no, that'd be good, mate. Oh, I've just thought of a great idea. I'll see if I can propose that to the main men. Snap and propose. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, obviously the legs off on this game, whilst they are necessary, 100%, you don't really want a motocross simulation game where you just instantly respawn. You need some sort of punishment for crashing. It's just so frustrating, and especially as a brand new person to the game, I can fully understand why you guys would get incredibly frustrated at Sim. I know I did at the start. I think I even went through a point when I had this was when I had the demo before buying the full game. I'm pretty sure I just went to the extreme of playing it in the like arcade mode physics at one point, because I was just getting fed up. You know how it is when you first start playing on the demo. You've got the stock, like a couple of stock JLV tracks where the traction it leaves a lot to be desired. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. And you just kind of tiptoeing your way around, and even when you feel like you go in negative 10 miles an hour, you still manage to tuck the front end in a corner, and then you have to lay there and contemplate your life. But I think that's the thing with Sim as well, is if you get easily addicted to games, it's a great game for you, because there's so much to learn. And that's something that on most modern releases, to be fair, that I feel is missing for me. There's no sense of progression and improvement. A lot of game nowadays, this is outside of motocross genre as well. Let's take Call of Duty for example. I feel like I reference Call of Duty quite a lot in these videos for some reason, but I feel like a lot of it applies. So I can't remember exactly what COD it started on, but I absolutely despise skill-based matchmaking. I hate getting like a neutral KD every single game, just getting like, oh, 1 kill, 1 death, 1 kill, 1 death, over and over and over again, because it doesn't fill me with any sort of accomplishment. I just feel like I'm playing the game for the sake of playing the game. And you will have the occasional game where maybe you get a 2 or a 3 KD, but then you know that you're about to get absolutely fisted. Fisted by Activision, because the very next time you go into a game, they're going to be like, okay, you've done really, really well in that last game, we're going to put you against harder people, and it goes straight back down again. So every now and then, once in a blue moon, you get to have fun, but for the most part, it's just a massive grind with no real reward. Whereas on Sim, I don't think that's the case. You really do get out of this game what you put into it. If you're willing to grind a couple of 1,000 hours, you can be one of the fastest people. And anybody that is at the very, very top of this game that says they don't spend a whole lot of time on it, they're probably chatting shit. You might get the rare exception if they don't play many other games to destroy their muscle memory. I know that, at least for me on bikes right now, is I can take some pretty decent sized gaps and not play it and come back, and within a day or two be mostly back to where I was speed wise. But that wasn't really the case for me on Sim. I did have to have like a constant, even if it was just like 10-20 minutes a day, I did have to have a little bit of constant playtime just to keep the muscle memory there for me. And as soon as I went to play other motocross games and that muscle memory went, I found it so difficult. I mean, you guys know what I was like in my first oh no, don't do it, there we go. In my first few MXing videos, I was all over the place, wobbling left, right and centre, and I'm quite surprised that, oh, there you go, typical Lynds curse, say something and I crash. I was about to say I'm quite surprised that I'd not crashed as many times as I thought I had just yet. So maybe I'm not as washed up as I originally thought. I'd be interested to know what sort of settings you guys run, because obviously I know there's going to be people saying that my FOV settings are trash and I should try this and this and it will be absolutely fine. Trust me, I've tried more than you can imagine over the years, and this is just what I've kind of landed on for this video. I feel like it gives me a good amount of being able to see my front fender, being able to look ahead enough so I'm not like looking down constantly, enough FOV to kind of see what's around me, and then I have my gimbal on 45, which I think some people probably think is quite high. It felt quite high as I was sliding it further and further along. I was like, is this even doing anything? But it really eliminates a lot of that sharp joltiness that makes me feel quite ill when playing first on this game. And oh, look at the bottom left. Look how consistent them lap times are. Oh, consistently bloody dog shit. Jesus Christ. I imagine this is quite painful to watch for you guys that do play first quite often. You have to let me know down below, because I think I had done a poll before. And it seems like the majority of people that play first person in MX bikes play third person in Sim, which is an interesting statistic for me. And it's one of the things where I'm quite surprised I mean, Sim's almost 15 years old now. I'm quite surprised that JLV over the course of those 15 years hasn't kind of done more with the camera. And obviously he's added the gimbal, which is a welcome addition for people like me that want to just dabble in it every now and then but don't want to vomit instantly. But it's weird that he's not added more options. I feel like, so we're in somewhat of a chest cam, as far as there's no like helmet cam with a visor that you can see, or even like where bikes has it where it's more of a dynamic camera where the bike moves under you and the heads is a little bit more rigid in terms of tilt, so it kind of stays more upright rather than leaning side to side. Because as I'm sitting here playing, I find myself leaning in my chair as well. As I'm turning this left-hander, I'm tilting my head to the left to try and see what the bloody hell I'm doing, because it feels so off balance to me. Whereas, oh, there we go, that was close. Whereas bikes doesn't feel like that. When I very first started learning bikes, I learned the game in third person because I didn't even want to give first person a chance purely based off of my experience on sim. And I know all the arcade games like that people play nowadays, whether it's Reflex or Unleashed or Supercross or even Legends, whatever it may be. I know the majority of people play third because the first person cameras on those games always leave a lot to be desired. But yeah, it's difficult. It's definitely difficult, but I just wanted to make this video to give you first-person guys a little bit of love as well, because as I said at the start, I do get a number of comments saying why, or asking why I don't, or asking if I can do. I probably could have scumbagged it and just hopped in a replay, for example, and like ridden in third, hopped in replay, and would have been jobs as good. But I don't. How do I prove that this isn't a replay? Can I new race? High point, start. I don't know the best way of proving it. There we go. I'll just do some riding again. Actually, oh, can you see my cursor on screen? Hang on, let's move that. I was slap bang in the middle of my screen. I think I've got cursor turned off on my OBS. But yeah, it's a weird one. I don't mind doing it for a bit of a laugh every now and then, but you have to admit that I'm probably a good 30 plus seconds elapsed slower than I would be in third. So when you're someone like me that considers themselves to be somewhat competitive in terms of video games in general, even not on a skill level, but just like a personal thing where I kind of pride myself on how I do, and I'm never really happy with anything other than first. Even on like bikes the other week on Thunder Valley, so it was the NA one, and I went first, second for second overall, but tied on points with Chicken. Even though I didn't lose points, I was still super annoyed because I didn't go 1-1 and gain points. And some people probably think that's quite pathetic or a bit sad, but I don't know. It's just how I'm wired after all these years of playing motocross games. I don't like losing. I don't think anyone likes losing. You get those rare few people that genuinely just enjoy playing the game for enjoying to play the game, and they're more than happy to like race and compete as long as they're qualifying and making it in. But that's not me. I can't bring myself to do that. I hate just showing up for the sake of showing up and kind of barely scraping points, which is why I was getting so frustrated at sim like a few weeks back, because I feel like in myself I'm good enough to be getting top 10s and getting decent positions, as I'm doing absolute cheeks since I've reset, which isn't really helping me prove my point at all. But yeah, I don't really want to do a whole lot more, because my enjoyment on this game definitely comes from third person. First person is never going to be it for me. I can dabble in it every now and then, but it's not something that's going to stay. I hope you can, if you're a first person player on this game and you're not a fan of watching third person, I hope you can understand why. As you see, I can just keep crashing over and over and over again. I've got no real sense of what the bike's doing underneath me. At least in third person I can see what's going on, I can see if I'm getting kicked about, and the only downside I ever see in third on this game is in regards to hills. Going up hills or down hills, you're always a little bit limited as to what you can see. But then again, in first person I've not got that awareness around me, so if I was to do this in an actual race, I imagine I'll be pinballing off of everybody all over the place, whereas I can dodge that quite well in third. But I think that'll do it from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and most importantly, if you did, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is that you're up to, and until catch you in the next video. Peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain, even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want. I got